Hello everyone out there, this is Nash Ryker with StruggleToVictory.com, where we come at you with inspirational interviews and stories and training and experience and wisdom on how to overcome your struggles in business or in life and to go on to achieve the victory in your life that you want, whatever that may be. And I have a very, very special guest with us today that we're interviewing named Adam Holland. And Adam is very well respected in the internet marketing community and the just as an entrepreneur. And actually, just to kind of set the stage for Adam and who he is and everything, I'll let him to get into some more of that here in a second. But Adam actually is a highly successful internet entrepreneur. Actually has run. Let me look up here. I had some other notes I just pulled up. You actually have created over a dozen internet marketing training courses and programs. Personally coached dozens of his top students and has been featured in several industry trade publications. Adam, you're the founder of Global Leadership Max and Magnetic Storm Studios, and you've also been a featured contributor in the book The Art and Science of Success by Matt Morris. And so, welcome, Adam. How are you this morning, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, man. That was actually really good. I'm like, wow, how did you find out all that about me? I'm like, oh yeah, Google. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Man. Well, you've been really serving the humanity, really, and everybody out there that has a dream for success in their life and in business, and people that are striving to do something better with their life for their families. And you know, I highly respect people like you, buddy, and it really is an honor for me to be able to connect. And what we want to do really is kind of get into your story and get into, you know, these interviews here. The main focus that I'm setting, the main intention is not necessarily to get into a lot of the nuts and bolts and the how to do a business or an internet business or whatever the case may be, but the why. More importantly is the why, because from what I've learned is once you've got the why crystal clear in your mind and in your heart, you know, the how pretty much falls into place and kind of, so, you know, we kind of want to learn about you a little bit and your process and your journey from struggle to victory, right? And because even though you have all the success now, you got all these accolades, all these great things that you've done, it wasn't always like that, right? There was probably a point in your time where you're a little bit frustrated with life, a little bit frustrated with the results that you're getting, with the money you're making, whatever, and you decided to make a change. So, but before we actually get started into all that, can you tell us a little bit about you know, what motivates you, what inspires you, some of your rules for life and for business success?
Yeah, sure. Well, just one thing real quick. You know, Nash, you were on I had a VIP webinar last night. It was this like premium webinar where I try once a year to do one of these where I go over like how internet marketing works, how to start your own internet business, and really a big bird's eye view of how complicated really it could be. But I wanted to put it in layman's terms for everybody. So we did that last night. I knew it was going to be a long webinar, but we went from 9 p.m. to about, I think it was around 1 a.m. It was whatever it was like almost a 4-hour webinar. And I was so just hyped up on caffeine. I actually couldn't go to bed last night. So I think I went to bed at around 5 a.m. knowing this interview was at 10 a.m.
Oh,
so, you know, luckily I have my kids for my alarm clock. But I mean, here's kind of my point. I knew that, you know, today's my daughter's birthday. We're moving in about 90 days. We're actually moving across the country. You know, we've actually been living in, this is the same apartment we were in when I was laid off 5 years ago from my job and I started my internet venture, which I'll get into that part of the story in a little bit.
So you're due for an upgrade then.
yeah, we're way overdue for an upgrade. So, you know, now especially with 2 kids, we have a dog as well. It's like, okay, kids are getting a little older. They need separate bedrooms. We need more space. And, you know, luckily, you know, the internet's provided me with the opportunity and the blessings that it has to be able to allow me to cross the entire country from New York. We're going to Phoenix, Arizona, where it's a lot sunnier. I don't have to shovel snow. You know, I see a lot of people out in Arizona shoveling sand, you know, or scraping ice off their cars just so they can drive, you know. So, but obviously it's hot. It's like night and day. But like, long story short, the first message I wanted to get to you, the viewer, today is no matter what you want in life, the circumstances are never going to be right. You know, I could have slept in until noon today. I could have done more packing and moving stuff out and getting ready to do garage sale stuff to sell off all this junk that we don't want to take with us. Today's my daughter's 2nd birthday, and as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna probably grab a little bit more food, do a couple of quick things on the computer, and head out to the park, meet my wife and kids there. Nice. You know, so there's a lot of things I could do today, but I knew, again, Nash, you had said the why. I knew that somebody, whether it's this year or 3 years from now, somebody could come across this interview, it'll totally inspire them, totally change their life, and just to have that one extra person that now is a stay-at-home mom or a dad, or is able to put their kids through college with the money they make on the internet because of the inspiration that Nash, you, and I were able to give to them. And there's just so many things where you need to be able to push yourself, and it's typically not for the big car. Obviously, it's not for the big fancy house. I'm finally moving after 5 years of multiple 6 figures online. I'm like, okay, I guess, now's the time kind of thing. So when you paint a picture that's much bigger than you and your goals and your dreams, then it's no longer about you. It's because when it's about you, it's like, well, I don't really need that Ferrari. I don't really need that big mansion. I'm happy where I am, and that's not the point. The point is how many lives are going to be affected around you, and that's really what's made the difference for me. Is again, all those years ago when I was laid off from my job, there was no way I was going to be able to do any kind of vacations with my family. And we took a cross-country trip with a 1 and a 2-year-old, which I don't really recommend necessarily doing when they're that young, but we went to San Diego. This is actually around this time last year, and did San Diego Zoo and SeaWorld and Legoland and all the things on the beach and everything that's out there. And my wife had never been to California, had always dreamed of going, and I said, your dream's coming true, we're just going to go. So it was kind of like our wedding anniversary / Mother's Day, type thing. So, we hooked her up. So,
nice.
I know I just went through a bunch of different things there, but
that's
really
all good. And I love what you said, man. How and this has kind of been a common thread from anyone successful that I've learned about their story and how they achieved their success. It was all about putting their focus on other people. And there's a saying that says, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll automatically get what you want, right? And I love what you said there. Yes, this interview here, and there could be tens of thousands of people watching this, and even if just one of them watches it and is inspired to take the right action in their life to change their life, man, it was all worth it. So really appreciate you being here, buddy. This next question, let's see, you kind of covered a little bit about it, but can you get into a little bit about your story, where you came from, what caused you to make the decision to step away from the pack, and go against the grain, do your own thing, start your own business, become an entrepreneur. By no means is being an entrepreneur easy. It's much more easy and comfortable in the short term, maybe to stay in a job or just to kind of keep doing the same things you've always done because, that's what you know. When you step out away from all of that, you go into the unknown, and that's where a lot of people they get stopped in their tracks because of that fear of the unknown. What was it in your life that caused you to make that switch, man, that like, I've got to do something different?
Well, it was probably, it kind of goes back, I think, to when I was first prospected in my first network marketing company. This is probably around 2004, I think it was, and I was working at Radio Shack in the mall at the time, and because it's in the mall, that's where all the network marketers go to congregate and leech on every mall employee they can. Hey, you looking to make some extra money, that kind of thing. That's just like the typical thing you'd get.
I remember that.
You'd have lots of people just coming in and being like, hey, look, you're looking for ways to make money outside of what you're doing, and it's like when you have 6 or 7 people, within a couple of months span of time, say like a cut and paste version of each other. One, that's duplication, that's great, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I kind of got curious, and I went and I saw the plan, and I was excited, but I was very hesitant at first because I didn't know if I really believed it. And I think even earlier in college, I was actually in a direct sales company called Vector Marketing, who they sell Cutco knives and cutlery and all sorts of stuff for the kitchen. So I'd actually go door to door basically to people's houses, not literally knocking on doors with knives saying, "Hey, can I come in?" That'd be kind of weird. But like, you know, doing, you know, calling referrals and all that kind of stuff. So I had already had a little bit of a taste of being able to write my own paycheck, but I didn't really have the ambition or the wherewithal at the time to go and do that. And then that extra little push came along with this network marketing company, and I started to see, well, there's residuals and long-term income that I can have too, and I started to see a little bit bigger vision of becoming an entrepreneur. So, you know, then the next probably 4 to 5 years, I had gone into a couple different opportunities, and it wasn't actually until February of 2008 where I had gone through some opportunities, and I'd also had a little bit of disdain. This is another little tidbit for you. If you're in a job right now, it's a blessing. You're able to fund your lifestyle, pay for the bills as is right now, but you're also able to fund your business. So keep the job. I kind of had a little bit of angst, and I was kind of ticked that I was at that job. So needless to say, I went through jobs like toilet paper. You know, I was with a job for a year, I'd quit. Next job was 3 months, I'd quit, you know, a job for 2.5 years. Finally got fired. You know, I don't like to sugarcoat it. I wasn't laid off. You know, it was 2008. The economy wasn't all that great, but I was totally fired because it was just lack of performance on my part. And because I was now several years out of college, my resume looked like Swiss cheese because I couldn't hold a job. Nobody wanted to interview me. The only jobs that I could get were there was a job for a well-known company that makes basement finishing systems and sunrooms. I won't name the company or whatever, but basically it was a 100% commission job. You either sold and you got paid, or you didn't sell anything and you didn't get paid. And you were spending your own time and your own money on gas and everything to drive around to these appointments, which would be 3-hour plus long appointments, and you could do all that work and at the end of the day get nothing. But if you did make a sale, it could be a 4-figure payday depending upon the size of this edition or whatever. So, you know, so imagine going from getting laid off for not doing well in sales performance, and now in a down economy, you're going into people's houses trying to sell them a $40 or a $50 or up to even a $70,000 sunroom edition on their house, or a $15,000 to $30,000 basement, you know, finishing system, that kind of thing. So, and yeah, so it was very scary, and because of the economy, it wasn't that fast-moving of an opportunity for me at the time, because I'd get maybe 1 or 2 appointments a month. So I probably made 10 grand in a year with that company. However, it gave me the opportunity to take all that extra free time that I had and put it into my own business. I said, well, if there's one time that I'm going to have the opportunity to go out there and, you know, I'm going to earn 100% commission, whether it's my business or somebody else's, might as well make as much of the commission as possible. Instead of a 5% or whatever, or a 3% type commission, how about making all of it? You know? Nice. So I said, how about I do, you know, do a business? I got into affiliate marketing. I started doing some more online opportunities. I actually had already done some online opportunities and was getting into the space a little bit and made a few $1,000s. The problem was I got laid off right as I was about to ramp up my marketing. So I thought I was 90 days to 180 days of flushing the job, getting rid of it completely in my life, and there I was back at square one, you know, after I got laid off. So to answer your question, it wasn't so much an event that really inspired me. It was more of an event that beat me down, you know, emotionally, just physically, in pretty much every way possible, because you know, it wasn't the day that I got home when I got fired. It was probably a week later, 2 weeks later, when I wasn't getting calls back on my resumes, where here I am, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I didn't feel like a man because I couldn't provide for my family. And finally I said, I gotta do something. So I was working, you know, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, however long I was awake that particular day. I was learning internet marketing because I knew that was going to be the solution, you know, the long-term solution to that problem. And I knew ultimately, you know, with my ADD, if I was going to work on one project, you know, build that up to be successful, if I got sick of it, I could just go and do something else. And I had that freedom, you know, as an entrepreneur to work on multiple things at once like I do now. You know, I've got multiple different projects going at once. Keeps me busy, keeps me entertained, and it's an adventure, you know, if anything. So
nice. Very good, buddy.
I got my big beer glass of whatever you were talking about here. So we're gonna do Nash. We're gonna do a virtual cheers, clang. There you go. So this is not non-alcoholic water.
You know? Right on. Cool, man. Well, I'll tell you what, it's fun having a dream in your life, is it not? Like having
Absolutely.
a vision for where you're going, knowing that you're going to get it. You and I both, the internet has been our salvation as far as being able to accomplish that, step into our own, create our own business. Now, you know, this whole theme is struggle to victory, right? Because we all know that even when you make the decision to step out on your own, it's not always an easy process. Okay. Things, you know, success doesn't just get plopped into your lap. It doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot that has to go on behind the scenes, if you will, before people see the success on the outside, right? So, can you share with us, like, you know, going through that process, and what were some of the most important things that you had to figure out with your mental game that helped you to either stay focused on what you needed to focus on, or putting your actions in the right place, whatever the case may be. What was the main thing that you had to do to kind of keep moving forward and know that you're headed in the right direction?
I think it's a level of focus and dedication to almost insanity levels, because back when I was doing my network marketing company, my first one at the time, I was so just determined to be successful that my sponsor, my upline, was actually from Long Island, and I live in upstate New York. And every other week they'd have meetings, like their team meetings, like every other Thursday night, where we'd drive a whole group of 3, 4, 5 of us would carpool from Albany on a Thursday night all the way down to Long Island. You know, obviously it's a work night. You know, we knew we'd have to get up that next Friday. Not only would we speed, which I got lots of speeding tickets. I was that dedicated to my success. Lots of points on my license, lots of extra insurance dollars because of that. But I was that willing to take that 3.5 hour or so drive all the way from upstate New York down into Long Island, sit there for a 2-hour meeting. You know, a lot of the leadership would go to the diner afterwards. If you're familiar with network marketing, there's a lot of congregation, a lot of community there. So we'd probably hang out in the diner until 1:30 in the morning. Then I'd drive 3.5 hours, you know, not falling asleep at the wheel because I'm pinching my leg. You know, I'm doing everything I possibly can to stay awake. Drive back, probably get home around 5:30, sleep for like an hour. And then every Friday morning, I'd have to still wake up for work and go to, they have like sales status meetings where we'd have to go over the projects and the different companies we were working with to try and close sales. And here I was a zombie for every other one of those, you know. So it's, you know, and in terms of the online stuff, it was out of necessity for me to not learn everything. It was, I need to learn it and apply it with ferocity because I can't wait to make money. I need to eat. I need to pay some bills. I'm not going to do bankruptcy. I'm not going to go and move in with my parents or something like that, you know. And the consistency with that is very important, because even when you start to make it and you start making some money online, income, I'm sorry, I should say revenue does not equal income. This is something I talked briefly about in the webinar last night. Is you might go and make your first $10,000 a month and you say, oh, I replaced my income. No. It's, you need to reinvest some of that into your business. You need to reinvest that into marketing and keep that money going. And you might have a $10,000 month. I mean, I've had months where it's been like $80,000, $12,000, $15,000, and then I sold off a bunch of websites, lost a bunch of revenue or whatever. And then I'd even had like a net loss of a $3,000 month. Imagine working for a month, and then because of all the expenses and outlay, and because you're working on new projects, a lot of money's going out, but it's not coming in. You're actually at a net loss. So here you are working your butt off for a month, and you have a net loss of $3,000. But again, you're planting seeds for the future. So the whole thing about having first of all, stick with one industry, one niche, one opportunity, whatever it is, and just hammer it out, do as much work as possible so you have a much more consistent income than I was doing, because I was doing a lot of blogging and getting all distracted doing a million different niches and different things. Limit it to like 3 to 5 niches if you're going to be doing affiliate marketing stuff. But I can go real deep into a whole tangent there. But basically, it's all about being consistent and having the inclination to just realize that my business revenue is, let's say, that $10,000 that month. You need to be at a consistent income to be able to set yourself apart from that job. You need to make sure that you're being responsible in terms of finances. You need to make sure that I'm sorry, Mike, I know I'm going off on a crazy tangent here. Can you just repeat the original question just real quick?
Oh, it was let's see here. I forget what the question is now. Let's see. Let's go on, because I think I might have
Cool,
threw that one out off the top of my head, because I don't see it on here. So let's do this. What do you think are the main things like that keep people from achieving greatness in their own life? Because, you know, there's a statistic, I've heard it a number of times out there, that people that get started with an online business end up making no money, even after years of doing it. There's a huge percentage, it's like over 95% of people do not make money with the internet. Is there anything you can attribute to why that is, and how people watching this can avoid being a part of that statistic?
Yeah, several different reasons, and this kind of goes along with what I was saying about being consistent and really pushing for a certain small amount of niches or a small amount of websites at first and building those out instead of making, you know, 20 different things that never get ramped up because you're too busy trying to get the foundation set. And like I was saying, I needed income as soon as possible. I didn't have time to go and learn everything. I needed to learn a few things and apply them with, like I said, ferocity. Just go out there and make it happen. And I think the biggest thing that people do is they don't ever get out of learning mode. Why? Because we go to school for whatever it is, you know, 15 years, 20 years for some people in graduate degrees and that kind of stuff, and we get trained to be in learning mode. And that's not how it works. Is you learn a little bit as an entrepreneur, and you go and do this much application. It's literally, instead of, you know, I can't really do a drawing, but, you know, here, but imagine having like a pipe going across the screen here, and this pipe is only about this thick, you know, it's only about an inch, you know, in diameter. That is the input into your brain of how much information you need. The output needs to be a huge pipe of all this water flowing, you know, all these ideas and action flowing out the other side.
Nice.
Most people have it the opposite, where they've got this huge pipe of information shoved into their brain, and they're too busy learning and gathering that information and knowing the full picture and trying to get all their ducks in a row, where that little pipe, you know, if it's existent going out of their brain or out of their body in terms of action, is just so small and so minuscule that they never see the results. And if you want a very specific example, one of my first mentors, I don't know if you're familiar with Jonathan Budd at all.
Yeah.
I knew Jonathan when he had his first like 5-figure month online. You know, this is a little over 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. It was like November of 2007. And I opted into his capture page, and it was like, I made $12.2 thousand this month. I'm like, who says $12.2 thousand?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's just so weird. I'm going to opt in anyway. Who's this weird guy? Or whatever. And, you know, to this day, he's a great friend, you know, great friend of mine, and we talked you know, quite a bit, actually. But anyway, so basically, one of the things that I saw him do was he taught a class on YouTube marketing. And I didn't just learn the strategies and dip my toes in the water and made 5 videos and wonder why I'm not a millionaire. What I saw him doing, and you can't really get away with it so much now, is he actually had around 100 different YouTube channels, all with the same 5 to 10 different videos that he just kind of repurposed. He'd rename them, he'd re-edit them so it looked like it was a different video to YouTube. And between all those, you know, what is that, 500 to 1,000 videos that were out there, he was getting 100 to 200 leads a day. Now, if you had kind of done it the opposite way, where you had one channel and it was like literally, you know, a tenth of that, you might get 5 leads a day, which is not going to bring you to that full-time income. And here you are, you're like, well, I finally got leads. Yes, you know, I'm finally getting traffic, but where's the money? And it's like you're not pushing hard enough on the marketing side to get enough leads on a daily basis where you can go full-time. You know, so what most people do is they write an article, they make a video, they do one solo ad, you know, email ad. They do one pay-per-click ad, and they're like, well, I'm trying all these different things, and it's not working. It's because you need to focus on 1, maybe 2. Again, it all depends upon your budget. You know, get a coach, talk with Nash. If I don't even know if you coach Nash, but contact somebody that can teach you internet marketing stuff. Focus on 1 or 2 marketing strategies and learn how to ramp it up. My strategy, because I was so broke, I started out doing SEO. And I had the 16 hours a day to write the articles and get the backlinks and do the videos and transcribe the videos into, you know, whatever, and extract the audio from those videos and turn them into podcasts and blast those out. I mean, there was a whole process that I had on a daily basis, but it was because I was able to I was pushing so hard and just making a huge mess of content and just getting out there. You really learn what's working by failing a lot. A lot of the initial articles that I wrote, I think I spent all that time writing them, and combined, I think I had maybe 100 or 200 visitors from all these like dozens and dozens and dozens of articles. And finally I figured out more stuff about SEO, on-page SEO, off-page SEO, how to word the articles better, and how to actually do a couple little strategies to do a better call to action so I got more clicks at the end of the article. Then I did one article, I figured out how to get it ranked, and the copy, the wording was better, the call to action was better at the bottom, and that article gave me something like 800 clicks, that single article. So here it was, one article that took me less than an hour, maybe an hour or so, let's say, to write, and I got 800 clicks versus 100 hours, 100, whatever it was, dozens and dozens of articles written, and 200 clicks.
Nice, yeah.
And that's really what happens when you finally figure it out and something finally clicks. It's especially with SEO, much less anything in internet marketing, it seems like you're either making pennies if nothing, if anything, it's more than likely nothing, or you figure out what's converting, what's working, you build that brand, and you've now put out so much content and put out so many seeds that now you're starting to reap the rewards.
Nice, dude. That's all gold. I hope everyone watching this is writing this stuff down. Because,
watch it again.
Yeah, seriously, this is so key, and I love the analogy of the pipe. And it is, it's analysis paralysis, right, is what people get. And they're always in the learning mode, not taking enough action. That is huge. I admit, I'll be transparent, I struggled with that for a long time on the internet before I figured out that I need to be taking more action, that I've learned way more than enough that I need to actually build a six-figure business. And so when I started actually taking way more action than I was learning all the time, then things really started changing for me. So we're coming down to the end here, so I got two real quick questions for you, buddy, and we'll wrap it up and let you get back to your family and all the festivities you got going on today. So what's personal development to me has been critical, right? Just continual personal development, keeping my mind right, my mind solid and focused, and reading books has been huge for me. So. Are you a reader, and what kind of books can you recommend to people right now? Some of your favorites.
I used to hate reading until I started reading personal development books, because in school we're like, oh, we have to read The Great Gatsby, or whatever. We have to read Great Expectations, and it's like, oh no, I can't read stuff. So when I got really excited about learning more about me, about myself, about how to grow, and I could actually manifest those results, I get very excited about reading. Nowadays I still go back and read the top ones, like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Magic of Thinking Big, How to Win Friends and Influence People, the biggies. Some of the other cornerstone ones to me, Influence the Power of Persuasion, Hypnotic Writing by Joe Vitale, 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. That is pretty much a must if you're an internet marketer, because he talks about systemizing things so you can remove yourself from the equation and automate things, either using outsourcing or different software or different tools online. So a lot of those concepts, and about living that lifestyle, that was a real big paramount book in terms of that. Nowadays, I also love podcasts. So not just books, but look at any podcast, any entrepreneurs. Just do a search for entrepreneur on any of the iTunes store and look for podcasts on anything, any interviews that I can come across. Anything. TED Talks are huge. I love listening to TED Talks while I'm working on stuff. So, yeah, so that's pretty much the big library.
Great, man. Great resources right there. I meant to ask you this earlier on, but real quick before we end this interview, can you kind of give our viewers here some perspective on what it's like once you have achieved some of these major dreams and goals in your life, as far as financial freedom, and what the internet lifestyle really provides you, being a father, being a husband, being a guy. What's it like? Once you've gotten to that point, can you kind of give them some perspective on what they can expect if they follow?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I have your permission to be brutally honest?
Please
do,
okay?
Brother. So for you that are listening right now, this is not going to be the hypey answer. This isn't going to be the it's amazing and everything. The first year was horrific for me, and even the year after that was still very tough, because the struggles, they don't end. The more money you make, it's like more money, more problems in a way. It's much easier. All the stupid problems that you didn't have before, or that you did have before, that were solved by money, now you have to learn and grow and mature with that. And there are many things that just took me a long time to really, get in the flow of things. But even, just life is still going to get in the way. And when you understand that no matter, how much money that you're making, that you still need to be sound emotionally and physically, and you still have to have time for yourself. The first year and a half or so, after I was laid off, my wife was laid off about 9 months after that. So even after I started making that full-time income, $3 to $5 grand a month, I'm like, well, now I have to make 10 grand a month because now I need to help support my wife. Yeah. And then, we made it, and then, bought her a car and all that kind of stuff. It was awesome. And then, we were going to have our first baby, and we had to go, my wife went through a miscarriage. And it was like, oh, our first kid didn't happen, we could have gotten really down on that. I could have not worked for 3 months, whatever. You need to stay, like I said, consistent, not just in your work ethic, but in your attitude. And you need to understand that stuff's going to come up. You're going to have people refund. You're going to have hate mail. You're going to have just, you need to have that plate of armor, and as far as that goes. So that's not meant to depress you. What I really want to get across here is, in order to have that plate of armor, as long as you keep thinking about the blessings that are in your life because of your business. I got to see my son take his first steps at home because I'm at home with my wife and kids. Celebrating my daughter's birthday today. I didn't have to take time off from work. I didn't need to get permission from a boss. Yeah. Being able to fly my family cross country, for a vacation. Being able to move us cross country to move into a nice spacious house. And that kind of stuff. You need to really understand that you're going to be able to have those dreams. You're going to be able to have that lifestyle. You're not going to be burdened. I can't even tell you, I don't want to be unrelatable, but it's very difficult for me to relate now. I haven't woken up to an alarm clock in about 5 years now, unless it's to catch a flight to go to Vegas or something like that, and I need to get that 6 a.m. flight or something like that, so it's, to have that kind of feeling, to be able to have, nothing holding you down, nothing holding you back but yourself. And, if I push myself a little bit harder, if I grow a little bit each day, what can life be in, even a couple months, in a year, in 5 years? And you need to really paint that vision for yourself and really get excited about it. And you're going to overcome all those obstacles when you have that vision. You really understand what that day-to-day life's going to be. It's not about, like I said, for me, it's not about the sports car. It's, I drive a Honda CRV. Bought it new, whatever. But it's I'm not all about flash and stuff. I really cherish the leaving the family legacy and things like that, So I hope that inspires you today.
Absolutely, man. That's really good to hear. So is there anything, Adam, that you'd like to share with the audience as far as any projects you're currently into, anything you're passionate about right now, anything you'd like to just share about maybe getting in contact with you if they want to or whatever?
If you want to just check out my company, Global Leadership Max, just go to Global Leadership Max, either .com or .net. We're completely sold out right now, so if you just want to throw in your email to stay in touch. Sometimes I'll send 5 emails a week. Sometimes you won't hear from me for 2 months. It's all dependent upon what other projects I'm working on. And feel free, after you opt in, to just shoot me an email or what have you. And I look forward to serving you guys. And again, Nash, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, man. Keep going out there and serving people just like you are, man. I appreciate it.
Cool, buddy. Man, I appreciate hearing that. And listen, thank you for your time. All of you watching this, go back, watch this thing again, because he was dropping gold nuggets the whole time. And so once again, this is Nash with StruggleToVictory.com, and I appreciate you being here, Adam. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you accomplish over the next 12 months and beyond. Looking forward to meeting you sometime soon. I'm going to hook up with you at an event at some point when I hear where you're out and about, and get out there and get a chance to shake hands with you personally. So that's all, guys. Go out there, pursue your destiny, make it your own, pursue it, make it your main focus every day is to accomplish your destiny and your dream in your life. You can do it, you can make it happen, and we will see you next time. So make it a great day, guys. See ya.
Take care.